here.
On the Bendu.
In Hollywood.
In person.
For the Acolyte world premiere.
That's
Let's
right.
go. Let's fucking
It's like trip. So excited.
Yeah, we are both super excited to be here.
Thank you again so much to everyone that's allowed us to be here. Acolyte is going to be one wonderful adventure.
Yeah, we can't wait. It's going to be tonight. We're going to be among the first people in the world to watch it. We'll be tweeting our impressions out and everything like that. By the time you're watching this, though, it's going to be like a week later. Shout out to the Dork Forces podcast.
Exactly.
Hell yes. All right, we're here, baby. World premiere.
The world premiere
of the Acolytes. So excited. There are so many people here. Everyone is dressed fantastic. Everyone looks great.
It truly is.
We've got Jedi. We've got Sith. We've got photo ops. We've got May's costume hanging out over there. Some lightsabers. Like honestly, it's kind of a dream come true. I don't believe that we're really here yet.
Yeah, no, it's the imposter syndrome is slightly there, but
it's taken a few hits this week though, I gotta say.
Killer. Cool.
I think you might be.
Am I the only Ahsoka? What the fuck?
Let's go! Premiere time, are we ready? Do it!
5 minutes later.
Oh man.
So we just watched The Acolyte.
Oh man.
First two
one,
episodes.
Episode 2. What a story.
Amazing.
What a story. I am like shaking, processing everything.
I gotta know what happens next. He ran into Ahmed Best in the bathroom.
We ran into a couple of people. He ran into Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis, Dave Filoni, Shin Haiti. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
we
many
met
people here.
I mean,
again, an amazing opportunity. The invitation, absolutely fantastic. The ability to see the community collectively come together and see an upcoming project and seeing the cast and everyone together. It's almost like if you've ever been in a theater production of something, just getting to see the final product of what everyone's done is phenomenal.
You could feel so much like passion and enthusiasm from the cast and crew. Every time someone new appeared on screen, there was so much cheering and like
getting the family of the actors and the family of people who had a part of the production just adds so much heart.
It's a really unique experience. It's unique watching it with like the loved ones of the people in the film. Like there's so much like higher, like heightened energy.
Of proud that like is completely different that you would never experience.
Exactly. But the episode itself was badass. They both like went hard. I think when people watch this in 2 weeks, they're gonna get hooked like pretty much straight away. Like that first episode gives you the hook, and then you have to know what happens next. Like, the fight choreography is the standout. I think like the force fu, the hand to hand, so cool. It's so freaking cool, man. We got a gonk droid. I don't think it's a spoiler to say there is a gonk droid in this Star Wars thing because that's just how it goes.
Star Wars.
Lots of campy rubber aliens, a la 70s. Very good, like. It felt authentic. It felt like it was part of the Star Wars universe in an authentic way, but it still felt really fresh and like a brand new time period. Characters that we don't know, but there's so much for us to connect with, just like right out of the bat. Whether you've read the books or not, there's going to be something for you to connect with here.
I haven't read a single High Republic.
He's a High Republic virgin. He doesn't know shit, but
he was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was very easy to follow, very well paced. I am.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you again, Disney. Thank you again, LucasFilm.
Thank you, Star Wars, for inviting us out to this premiere. This was so much fun. The Acolyte!
This is a fight that you will not win.
She's killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense. I trained her. Now she is a student of the dark side, an acolyte.
I didn't do it! Believe me!
Star Wars.
Wars: The Acolyte. 2-episode premiere June 4th, only on Disney+.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Dork Forces podcast, number 71. Boy, do we have a lot to talk to you guys about today. How's everyone doing?
Yes.
How are you doing, Bendu?
I mean, I somewhat forgot how much you actually recorded and how much we actually like pre and post talked about, because like the last 4 days,
We actually got a bit, yeah.
The last 4 days, I've still just been truly processing everybody that we met, everything that we experienced, everything that we got to see. Just as a clarification, it was not Ahmed Best and I were crossing paths by like the concession stand as I was going towards the restroom and he was leaving the restroom, of which like didn't feel the appropriate time to like ask for a photo, but it was one of the few moments.
I think bathroom photo crosses the line a little.
Yeah, it was one of the few moments that evening that I felt like truly starstruck. Like for him, out of all people, of having this history for motion capture and for everything that Jar Jar has done for the history of cinematography. Absolutely. And getting Ahmed Best as an actor to come back within the Star Wars community as a Jedi, it was just really great. And I was just overcome with this like overwhelming urge to just say, oh my God, thank you for everything that you've done. And I'm glad you're here. Like that was all that really like spurted out and happened. And he just like sort of chuckled, laughed, and like went back on, said thank you, and went back to his seat, because it was between the credits of episode 1 and episode 2. So it was like I didn't want to ask her a photo because it was like restroom thing, but then also like we didn't want to miss anything.
You know what? I bet you made his night though. Just like that 30-second gushing and then he's on his way. Like,
right? Yeah.
Considering the experience he's had with fans, and now he's getting like told in the bathroom that some random guy loves him. Like that's where you want to be. Like that's where Ahmed Best wants to be versus where he was. You know, it's a beautiful thing. I don't think he minds that happened, you know.
But I definitely wrote down a lot of things because I knew that I was going to get tongue-tied a lot this evening. But yeah, I want you to go first. You need to go first. There was a lot that you preemptively got to see and witness and experience days beforehand, even of the.
Yes, that's true. You showed up on the 22nd and the premiere was on the 23rd, but I actually flew in on the 20th for a super secret event before the premiere, which was an exclusive roundtable type discussion with Leslye Headland in Lucasfilm. And it was crazy. It was, I don't really have the words to properly articulate my experience yet. Like not enough time has passed for me to be able to absorb that. Like I guess it feels real, but it still feels like that was a dream I had, you know, like I'm going to wake up at some point and be like, oh yeah, no, you didn't go to Lucasfilm, you stupid idiot. Like that's not a real thing, but like that really happened, man. We both met Dave Filoni this week. Like that's real.
You thankfully were able to meet him a couple of times throughout the week, but yeah, I mean, collectively there was like meeting the celebrity side of things, but then there was also meeting the other content creators and getting to meet a lot of other YouTubers and Instagram people that I've only followed and seen like over the years. But like this weekend was the only true opportunity to really meet them in person. They were absolutely like just beautiful people. Like Star Wars Explained, for example, absolutely phenomenal. They were great to hang out with.
Silver from Star Wars Thrifting, we hung out with a lot.
Yeah, like there was a lot of great people that we were able to hang out with and meet outside of the celebrity spectrum. But it was
kind of funny in that way because you've got the cast and the crew milling about taking photos. But then also on the red carpet, it's kind of the who's who of Star Wars Twitter. You know, like everyone kind of knew everyone through social, like faceless interactions, but like we didn't know who each other were necessarily. So that was kind of a weird but fun, like, yeah, it was a fun networking opportunity, getting to meet all these people that I at least have interacted with online for so long. Yeah, that wasn't even a thing like 20 years ago. Like social interaction is so different now. Have all these pre-existing relationships with people you've never been in the same room with. So when you meet, you actually have things to talk about. It's a unique experience. Yeah, how did this opportunity come around? I guess we should start at the very beginning, right?
I mean, I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for you. Absolutely. I was only there as a +1. So, but yeah.
As soon as I knew I had a +1, I was like, well, the Bendu's coming to this. Like it had to be you, best friend. It had to be you. We made it happen. But how this all came about. So I was in Anaheim
like 2 weeks before this for the Park Forces meetup, like hanging out with a bunch of you guys. We went to Galaxy's Edge for May the 4th. It was great. Well, pretty much as soon as I got home, I got an email from this guy saying, "Hey, I'm from Lucasfilm. We've got this exciting opportunity for you where you can like basically come and like do the round table." I could describe all the events. And my first reaction was like suspicion. I was like, someone's playing a prank on me, you know, like, nice try. I'm not going to fall for this. So I reached out to one of my friends who I know has a professional relationship with Lucasfilm. And I was like, have you heard of this guy? Is he legit? Am I being like, is someone playing a really mean prank on me, trying to get me to like fly to LA for no reason? And she's like, oh yeah, no, I know that dude. He's great. I love him. And that's kind of when I started getting excited. And I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like, immediately said yes, immediately RSVP'd, like started looking at flights like that same minute. As soon as I got there, I got like so nervous. I don't know. I guess it suddenly set in. It was like, you're about to be face to face with like Lucasfilm people. Like, if you make a bad impression, if you say the wrong thing, like, so I was like full of like nervous, just like nervous anxiety. But as soon as I walked in the door there, like it all kind of like fell away. And like, you know, scenes in movies where like you get that dull ringing in your ears and it just gets louder and louder and what people are saying kind of falls away. That's kind of what happened to me. And I just like floated through that building and just was, yeah, it was crazy. It was like an out of body experience. I actually have a little video that I put together to kind of like walk you guys through exactly what my experience was like. And then I thought after that, I'd open it up to the chat and you guys can ask Bendu and me like any question you have about what happened in the experience. And like, and we'll talk about everything that we can. And then at the end of the podcast, we're thinking we're going to do like a pretty extensive, but spoiler free, don't worry, review of the first 2 episodes, because we've both seen the first 2 episodes at this point. But here, take a look at this. This kind of explains what my experience was at Lucasfilm. So I was given the incredible opportunity of visiting Lucasfilm and sitting down for a chat with Leslye Headland about the Acolyte, which is about to come out on Disney+. First, we arrived at the Disney Studio lot in Burbank. I was already freaking out about meeting Leslye Headland, but I had no idea what I was actually in for. They led us into the Frank G. Wells Theater for a private screening of the first episode of The Acolyte. I couldn't believe it. We were among the first people in the world to get to see it. After a quick introduction from Leslye herself, it was on. While I was watching The Acolyte, I forgot I was at a private screening. I was so hooked by the episode, for a moment I thought I was back on my own couch in my living room. After a single episode, I was hooked. I can't wait to watch it again. Once the episode was over, we arrived at the Lucasfilm offices. Next, we sat down for an exclusive roundtable type discussion with showrunner Leslye Headland, who was very excited to talk to us and probably pretty nervous to hear our impressions of the episode. Needless to say, we were all pretty impressed with what we had just seen, and we had a really solid, informative discussion about Leslie's influences and how this show came to be. We also had opportunities to share our feedback and concerns as members of the fan community and spoke about the direction of the franchise. Here are a couple interesting things I learned from Leslye about the Acolyte during this conversation. Nobody auditioned for this show. Leslye told us that every cast member was hand-picked, and she got all of her first choices, which is lucky, she added, because she really didn't have a plan B for any of the characters. Lee Jung-jae was the biggest holdout, primarily due to his concerns about performing in English. Leslye told us that after breaking Lucasfilm protocol and sending him a copy of the script, he signed on very quickly. Daphne Keane was cast in The Acolyte because, and I quote, "I just wanted X-23 with a lightsaber. That was pretty much it." When asked about her influences, Leslye told us that each episode will have a unique stylistic inspiration. She told us that this season will include, quote, an Alien episode and a Predator episode. We were paid an unexpected visit from Dave Filoni, and you can see from the look on my face that I handled it extremely well, like a normal person with social skills. Nope, no freakouts here. After our roundtable discussion, we took a tour of the Lucasfilm offices within the Disney Studio lot, a location never before seen by outsiders, unlike the Presidio offices in San Francisco. We were given some really cool Acolyte swag, like Soul's lightsaber, a little Pip battery charger, some cup of noodles for some reason, and other cool stuff too. Everyone was excitedly digging in their bags and pulling things out, meanwhile I was just drinking it in, scanning the whole room with my eyes and trying to burn every single memory into my brain forever. This was a fantastic experience. I'm so grateful to Lucasfilm and to Star Wars for giving me the opportunity to come to the mothership and meet the people creating these stories I love so much. This was a wild experience, and I will remember it for the rest of my life. and that's true. I mean, I really will. I really will. But that's my fun day at Lucasfilm. I got to talk to Leslye. I got to meet Dave Filoni for the first time, and then we met him again together at the red carpet a couple days later. And I wouldn't say that I wasn't freaking out. I did manage to keep it pretty composed, but like, yeah, there were just nonstop bells ringing in my head.
The internal reactions. But yeah, speaking of Daphne Keenan and X-23 as a Jedi, I also didn't realize, like, non-spoiler related, because we have seen what her makeup looks like. We have seen what her face looks like.
She's a Thelan, same as Ristal's son.
Well, apparently, I didn't realize that she's supposed to be half Thelan, half human.
You're right. Actually, most of the Thelans we've ever seen were half Thelan, interestingly enough. We've only ever seen one or two like full Thelans for whatever reason.
Yeah, it was in one of the, I saw in some random little like character breakdown that it said that Jackie Lawn is like half Thelan, half human, like proud, dedicated Padawan, etc. And it's like, dude, like the idea of X-23, or just like Daphne Keenan as an actress in general. Like, I didn't read the Golden Compass books series, but like from what she did do and from what I did see from his Dark Materials, like she's come a long way, and like she definitely knows, like, I don't know, how to give different dynamics to characters versus, being a really angry little kid Spanish speaking Wolverine.
I do feel like there's some X-23 energy in Jackie Lawn, just a little bit.
That's fair.
I feel like it comes through at least a little bit. It is a different kind of character, though, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to see what happens with her character in the rest of the show. Glad you got the opportunity to experience all of this. 100% deserved with how much positivity and passion you bring into your platform. That's so kind of you to say. Thank you so much. Yeah, it definitely feels like some sort of a reward, but I have to say this was never like an objective or a goal for me. I just sort of was doing this for my personal enjoyment, to like, I'm just all about Star Wars. And so to be recognized for that by the people that make the Star Wars is incredibly validating. And it truly is like a gift. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that this happened,
Well, it's being able, because we've talked about this a few times. It's like, one, being able to hold and keep a positive space and a safe space for fans, creators, people who held positions within different Star Wars shows that we've even had the opportunity to have guests on the show, which is phenomenal. But the fact that we're able to also look at anything Star Wars related from an artistic critique versus like, oh, this just doesn't make sense because XYZ thing. Like, at least we're able to look at each individual thing as an artistic expression.
Exactly.
And I think as the creators of Lucasfilm, because there was someone on Twitter who was giving you shit about like being like, oh, something about shills.
I was boy, did that narrow it down. God damn.
You're able to look at something and just express and see the beauty of each individual thing, versus like just tearing something down. Like, you're still able to see what the key idea was and see how beautiful it is because of what it brings to the overall universe and the overall
film.
But it was interesting seeing the difference of like social media people that Lucasfilm and Disney Plus does bring together. Like the group of people that they decided to bring for Ahsoka versus like that one was a lot more of cosplayer community. Whereas for this premiere, it definitely seemed more of like the social media and the YouTuber community. Just like, I guess, I don't know if it's because of just different genre or spectrum.
I think it has to do with casting a wide net. Yeah. You want to get people that have familiarity with a variety of platforms and have a variety of audiences.
But with the Acolyte,
that's what I assumed.
Yeah, right. But with the Acolyte, I think with us now in hindsight, now knowing that this show takes place within the High Republic, now knowing that this show is going to be more emphasizing towards Jedi Sith like history and connections and whatnot, like we've hyped this show up. We've been so on the Acolyte train when all we knew was just a title word.
Yeah, we didn't know anything yet, and we were already down. That's the show. We're easy sells.
We're set, fucking here for it. Like,
actually, you bring up a good point with the Ancient Jedi. I didn't even include this in the video, but something else that Leslye said in that conversation we started talking KOTOR. We started talking like KOTOR 2, and she said that other massive inspirations for her for writing the Sith character and motivations, she said Darth Treya and Kreia specifically. Those both of those characters are cornerstones of her like flavor of Sith philosophy, and that's gonna come into play in this show. That's what she said. And so like, I mean, just the confirmation that the showrunner of the Star Wars show knows who Treya and Kreia even are fills me with confidence.
Yeah.
But the fact that that's what she's drawing from philosophically, that's very exciting, because that could mean all kinds of things. Yeah, Ice. Oh boy, is right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm having seen the first 2 episodes, I could say pretty confidently that it's off to a good start. But like, this show's gonna go places. I'm excited.
But did you want to kind of break down what your experiences and how you felt and who you met first at the red carpet? Because like, the longer I thought about it and like remembered things throughout the weekend,
you got details coming back to you.
Bro, it's like I totally forgot that at the after party we met the writer and creator of Dr. Aphra. You know, like
Alyssa Wong. Shout out. Yeah, all of the Project Luminous authors were there. And they were like proud parents. Like, these are the authors that conceived of the High Republic, and here they are at the start of like, it's like watching their first child learn to walk. You know what I mean? And they were all of them were glowing. They were all just beaming. It was so I didn't want to bother him too much, so I only got a picture with Daniel Jose Alder, and I stopped to chat with Alyssa Wong and a couple others as well, like Claudia Gray, because I always say hi to Claudia Gray because we've met each other like a dozen times at this point. But they were all so happy, like this is their baby, and now it's evolved into this, you know. Yeah, we did. We met. Well, I mean, like I went up to them when the whole passel of them were standing there, and I came up and said collectively hello to everyone, and then managed to like shake hands with a few, take pictures with 1 or 2, but like, yeah, I can say I met them all at this point. Yeah, no, the whole thing was a trip, man.
There was so many compliments floating around. Everyone just looked so goddamn beautiful. Everyone's just like, yeah. But again, though, so this was our very first just like immersive red carpet event. We didn't quite do the whole red carpet like take pictures thing.
No, it's quite embarrassing. We forgot to walk on the part where you walk on for the Getty images. We forgot to do that part because we were enthralled with everything else.
I am very proud of us best friends that at no point in time did we ever lose our shit. At no point.
No, we kept. Best friend, we kept it together. And I was thinking that too. I was thinking that yesterday. I was like, man, you know what? We really kept it together. Like, when neither of us had a meltdown, neither of us got overwhelmed by how much Star Wars was going on. Like,
yeah.
I almost lost it. I almost lost it when we saw the lightsaber churros, but for a completely different reason. Because 2 weeks earlier, I was in Galaxy's Edge on May the 4th. There are people in the chat that can attest to this. They were there too. We went all over that goddamn park looking for the lightsaber churros.
Oh no.
None.
Oh no.
Nowhere. All I got was a stupid Jabba popcorn bucket, which I will treasure for the rest of my life. But I didn't get a churro. And so the fact that like that was like the only thing that like didn't go well. Everything else was flawless. And so the fact that now we're at this red carpet premiere and I walk into the lobby and there's a literal like a mountain of lightsaber churros.
Yeah,
it was just like such a cherry on top. I was like, this is like a Truman Show situation. Like, this is a manufactured scenario specifically for me. Someone's watching with a hidden camera. There's no way it's this perfect.
Just pointing and
laughing. But it was this fucking perfect. I saw a question in here that I do want to answer. First of all, that's hilarious. Yeah, I totally am a made guy at Lucasfilm now. You see this? Means you can't mess with me anymore. Can't mess with me because I'll go running, crying to Dave. So take that.
It's true.
Did we talk to Dave? Yes, we did. Bendu, tell him what you got to say to Dave.
So I mean, okay. So not only that, for you ultimately got to talk to Dave in multiple fashions because I
had a pretty good long conversation with him the other day. Yes.
I mean, honestly, the only reason I was able to say hello and shake his hand and grab a picture, I was able to show him my Airbender tattoos, which he absolutely like
He was stoked.
loved
He was stoked to see him.
and surprised to like see, because like, you know, obviously it's a Star Wars event, so you expect to see so many like Star Wars related things, but then that little like kind of reminder of not first projects, but like, you know, little love side projects on the side. Like, it was great to bring the Airbender in there. Plus there weren't a whole lot of silver Ahsoka blades, so it was great being one of the few
Someone had to represent, man.
silver blades out there wearing gray. But no, shout out to Kim and the other social media helpers for Lucasfilm, and I don't remember if they worked for Disney also, but all the facilitators just did an absolutely phenomenal job, really like helping us.
They were all super nice and super
remember.
encouraging to us. Like, I think,
Yeah.
like at one point came over to us and noticed that we were kind of hovering on the edge of Filoni and the Acolyte cast, or and the Ahsoka cast that were doing their thing, and she was just like, who do you want to be introduced to? I'll introduce you to whoever you want. Just say a name. I'll bring you over there. We'll get a picture. Like, it was,
So that
awesome. She was like
helpful.
There's the icebreakers, and then there's
helpful.
the icebreaker ship that just goes through and makes everything easy for everything behind it. And it was, super grateful for that. What were my first words to Filoni? So when I first met him, I was kind of a smart ass about it. And I was like, how about those penguins, huh? And he looked at me and he just winced and he was like, oh, yeah, it's been a rough year. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have brought that up. That was probably a bad idea. But yeah, no. They almost had a good comeback at the end there, but then no. Yeah, Dave's a hardcore Penguins fan, for anyone.
Yeah, mine was just thanking. I was just thanking everybody for everything, but it's just like, thank you for what you did for the fandom. Thank you for what you've contributed and continue to bring in. But yeah, and just as a creator, like, it was just great because kind of like what you said before, it was seeing everyone be proud parents, and kind of like what I mentioned in the video after we saw the 2 episodes. It was different getting to see it in a theater with the family members, because every time a new character would come on screen, you would hear the family of that actor or that actress like immediately start cheering, or it's like as soon as something
there's little pockets of cheers everywhere.
Little pockets of cheers, and it was just the coolest fucking thing, because it was like the level of just being proud, I guess. But for a lot of those actors too, seeing anything Star Wars related, like, this show is great because there was a lot of practical stuff. There's not a whole lot of CGI.
Yeah,
but
yes,
for the people
it
that
felt authentic in that way, like practical effects.
But the people who were on set, or the last time they were filming, it's probably been months since they've seen the project, and this is their first time getting to see all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, I'm sure it's most people's first time with visual effects of any kind.
Yeah, dude. So they're just able to take in everything for the first time.
It's
like,
really,
this series is gonna be so fucking cool.
I can't wait to see it, dude. I can't wait for the rest of it. But you bring up a really interesting point. The fact that, like, it really changed our experience having like all of these loved ones and supporters of the people that make the thing, like, physically resonating in that room every time something came on that was exciting. And I think it's such a double-edged sword to me, because I wish that the people who spent all their time just hating on Star Wars shows could be in that audience. Like, it's double-edged because they'd be heckling the whole time, and that would be terrible for everyone. But if they could be in that audience and they could hear and see those loved ones getting so excited that, like, their daughter, uncle, sister, brother, whatever, worked on this thing, and here it is on screen, like, I think it really humanized the show, and it shows that this is not just like the product of some big corporation, even though it is. It's also the product of a lot of hard work of real fucking people
who love the universe,
poured everything they had into this production. And like, even if you have your problems with Disney as the umbrella, as the big like that, these people worked their asses off to create like a cool end result, and like, it really did. It humanized it for me, even as someone who doesn't really need that reality check in the first place. Like, seeing the families in there get so excited and so proud of the cast and the crew, like, it made it a really special event in like a completely different way. Exactly. The heart that goes into it. That articulates it better. Thank you. What's up, Crystal? How's it going?
Love.
Glad you made it in here.
But yeah, it was so for meeting. Well, continue going on first. So I'm gonna like keep thought bubbling, but it's nice because I'm going.
That's kind of exactly what I'm saying. Yes,
I'm going to the checklist.
Like, people don't They don't consider it. They just consider it like the sum of like, they think that the person they're throwing their vitriol is Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse isn't a real person, but these filmmakers are, you know, and they are on the receiving end of a lot of things that I think people don't realize. Like, you know, you're not throwing stones at a great big castle. You're throwing them at human beings who made the thing in the first place. The mouse is never going to hear this criticism, you know. That's not how it works. I told him that I loved Ahsoka, and that I thought it was a great recreation, and that I was really excited to see what he's coming up with next. And he looked at me, and I was like, "Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening next?" And he looked at me for like a beat, and then he was like, "You signed an NDA on your way in?" I was like, "I did." He was like, "Yeah." He was like, considered it. He's like, "I'm not gonna tell you anyway, but I wanted to mess with you for a second." Like, he got me thinking, "Oh my god, is he about to tell me something?" But then, like, of course not. Of course he wouldn't.
Because if anything, like it wasn't
troll.
it wasn't like we were necessarily there for like a full-on TED talk. It was more so of just like exposure, getting the process of saying hellos, and really more so like meet and greets versus like let's have a full-on sit-down conversation. But you did with Leslye still.
Exactly.
Which I
Yeah,
think
the
was
full-on
more
conversation
so
was with Leslye.
the
Dave
goal
just
that-
sort of
yeah.
like popped into the room to say hi for a few moments, and then he left.
So I mean, honestly, I'm still a bit more excited for the conversation that you were able to have, and the fact that Leslye was both writer and director for like what a majority.
She directed like over half the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's
First
so
two
fucking cool. Not to mention her tattoos are really cool. Not to mention she's also a super nerdy person. Like outside,
She's so real, dude. She was hella cool. She was very chill, and you know it's kind of funny too. So I was told, okay, you're going to be sitting down talking to Leslye. This is going to be on camera. Like, you know, people are going to see this. So as I was saying, I'm full of anxiety. Don't want to make a bad impression at Lucasfilm. So I actually practiced for 24 hours ahead of time, not swearing, because I swear so casually. I'm like a sailor. It's terrible.
Same.
So the whole day I'm just, don't swear, no swearing, don't curse. Just say, oh my goodness, you know, don't say what the fuck. You can do it. And like, I was doing pretty well. I go in there, meet Leslye. She shakes my hand. She's like, how the fuck are you?
I see you.
Oh man. And that is the reason why the B-roll footage from Disney is all muted, is because Leslye dropped too many F-bombs. So like, I was like, I'm talking to my people right now. I thought I was going to have to like be on my best behavior, but like, yeah, no, it was great. It was like talking to an old friend, or like someone at the coffee shop, you know, like there was very much like a realness to it. And I feel like I had a bad impression of like what like Lucasfilm was like, because you know, no one's ever been here. Like besides the Presidio location in San Francisco, where you can like get a tour, no one's actually been inside the Lucasfilm office in Burbank before. We were like the first ones to ever see inside it.
That's what I was thinking also, yeah.
I had this impression that it's like corporate suits and like cubicles and like, yeah, there's an art department and this cool stuff, but like it's very like, you know, corporate. And honestly, it had more of an energy of like a community college campus in a way.
Because you guys went to the
like
building.
really open. Everyone was very like chill and laid back doing their thing. Like honestly, if some fools had been playing like hacky sack in the grass, it would not have stood out. Like
because you all went to the building that had the dwarfs holding up the
that's where the like that is where the suits are. Like that's where Bob sits.
Where you all
that's where like the legal and like. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas San
Francisco, it's kind of funny. Bob Iger sits at the very
Skywalker,
top of that thing, and it's got the 7 dwarves, and then Dopey's at the top, right?
He's in the middle.
That's where his office is. So he's got a great big view of a big stone dwarf butt, like right outside his window.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope
that's canon. Dopey's butt is right up there. Apparently, they put like a Santa hat on him at Christmas time, which sounds terrifying because that is so high up in the air.
And it's so huge. So when
it's
you like
massive. You couldn't get me to do that job.
Perspective, like it had to be the size of one of those wind turbines. But yeah, you were like
that's literally how it felt. I kept waiting for like the influencers to like get picked off one by one in a series of Star Wars related mishaps as we went through the building.
That'd be fucking
until
funny.
Finally there's only one left. And then I get to fly the N1 starfighter. Like I got way ahead of myself up here, but you know.
That'd be fucking hilarious. Oh man. The escape room that could be.
It was cool. It was very brief. That's what I'll say. It was more like he was going this way and I was going this way in a really crowded lobby, and like we paused for a second, and I was like, "Hey man, fan of your work," and then we kept on going. And he was
See,
like,
that's what I
"Thanks,
was.
man."
Yeah, that's
We were like
kinda
two
what I was
ships in the
saying.
night. I did it real efficient style.
So if and when cough, hopefully Skeleton Crew, please invite us to Skeleton Crew. We do get to go to another premiere. We'll have way more experience and a less passivity being asking for at least like a selfie and you know. But like again, so people were with their families, right? So it was very. You did have to really read the situation and sort of read the room, like because
There's an etiquette to meeting celebrities. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Especially when they're with their families too. Like Daphne.
I made the
Keaton
switch like
walking
halfway through the
around.
night to not be doing photos anymore. It's like I just want to meet these people so I can say I've met them. I don't really care about photographic evidence at this point. Like I just collected both variants of Filoni. All right, I got a photo with and without the hat, so
That's
like
true.
I'm set.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So I just shook hands with as many people as I could. Looked them in the eye and
That
told
was
them I
the goal.
appreciated their work. And
That was the goal.
I racked
So,
up like
yeah.
12 names that way, but I don't have photos because I was beyond photos at that point anyway.
Exactly. That was
Fuck
yeah.
the memories.
See, that's why we won. That's why we won.
Allegedly, the scuttlebutt is supposed to be arriving around Christmas season, but we'll see because yes, news on it is very light right now.
Same with Acolyte.
Exactly.
Yes,
We've got our street cred now. We can go home. We've got our bragging rights.
Yeah. So we were thankfully dressed up very nicely. Ironically enough, both of us were freaking out because the invitation just said dress Star Wars chic.
We had to figure out what that means.
Lightsabers
Yeah.
are encouraged. And that was it.
Fashionistas that we are, obviously, that made us panic immediately.
Yeah, that was the only description. And like we're just trolling through like Google of like what were history of red carpet premiere or like on Pinterest of like Star Wars chic. We're like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And then
See, I don't know. I've got half of a mind for fashion, and I can know exactly what I want to look like, but I don't know what any of those garments are called.
Yeah.
How to search for anything related to any of it, you know? In my mind, I can visualize, oh yeah, that's a sweet outfit. That's what I want to wear. I don't know what any of that's called.
Yeah. Like, do I even own any of those pieces? I don't know.
Well, because I was like, I want to do like a secret Sith thing where it's like a black outfit, but I've got like hidden red lining and like, you know, like a lightsaber motif somewhere. But then I don't know. We made it work though. I thought we looked pretty good.
No, absolutely. And then shout out to Dimitri for like, you know, the Vader ring and just like, also he was just so.
Oh my God,
solid.
Dimitri. Dimitri is the sweetest human being that I've ever met. You guys know Dimitri. He's the DJ on TikTok who's always doing like the wedding mixes with Star Wars thrown in. I came down in my outfit and we all met up at a little cafe at the bottom of the hotel before we went over to the red carpet. He took one look at me and he was like, "You look great. There's something missing." He went all the way back up to his room and came down with like a Star Wars watch and a Darth Vader ring, like for me to wear. Like he blinged me out. It was so nice of him, and it totally completed the look. He's like, dude, he is fucking cool. He's the coolest dude. Like honestly, Dimitri, if you're watching this, man, you got a friend for life over here now. After that, that was awesome.
Yeah, same with Star Wars Explained and Nikki
and I found a belt. I wasn't going to tell that story, but yeah, the day before the premiere, I realized that I had black and gold shoes, and I only had a silver belt buckle, and I was like, "God damn it, I got to find a belt buckle." And that's when I learned that the entirety of Hollywood is a silver belt buckle city. There wasn't a single goddamn gold belt buckle, and I walked like 20 blocks in the sun. I got all sunburned. It was an adventure.
Also,
but eventually I found one at this dude who was like tailored to the stars. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll get you. I'll set you up, man." And he like measured my arms and like he measured all kinds of shit. I'm like, "Dude, it's just a belt. What are you doing?" And then like he gave me like this sweet belt. So now I'm set.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Connie
took a long time to find
being able to drive my best friends to the airport the day after. But also completely unrelated to the premiere, but hilariously enough, the day after premiere, when we did a whole bunch of like random little mini side quests, like waiting to get Katarn back to the airport. If you are in the Hollywood area, you totally need to check out the history of the torture or
the medieval torture museum. That's what it was.
History Torture Museum. Yeah, dude, like fucking great. So
it's interactive. I tortured so many mannequins that day. I'm not okay anymore. Like it's like it changed me psychologically.
It's multiple rooms. It was like $10 a room, essentially. Like it was so fucking. It was
literally a dungeon.
Great. It was so fucking great.
Yeah, no, he gave me the old prison measurement. I don't know what that was. It's like, dude, it's just a belt, man.
But yeah, no, it was a phenomenal weekend getting to hang out with you and meet so many legends and meet so many other social media and content creators. Like it
might be a pop-up. It's on Hollywood Boulevard right before Cahuenga.
Yeah. No, it seemed pretty permanent. Like they were gonna hang out there for a while.
It's like 7,000 square feet or something like that. Like it's a pretty big basement down there.
But yeah, so my most embarrassing, I guess, meet was Ahmed Best and like not immediately.
That's not embarrassing.
Freaking
That's
out.
fucking cool, man.
Okay. Well, one thing you did get to do, you got to have a great conversation with Ezra Miller himself and complimented each other's beards.
Ezra Bridger.
Ezra
Bridger, not Ezra Miller.
Nice to Miller again.
Dude,
I was too excited.
Oh.
That would have been horrible. But anyway.
But yes, no, we totally had like a beard twin moment. It was great.
Iman. Yeah, so like God chat. So I know, right? I just I need to be better with names. I understand. But anyway, so it's like I was sitting in our seat in the balcony, like where waiting for like the shows to start, and there's fucking like Patrick's just looking at him. Or Katarin's just like, I'm gonna ask him for the photo. I'm just gonna do it. I'm like, all right, fucking go. Like this is the time. This is the place. And then so like they're like, I don't know, we'll say 4 yards, 5 yards away. I can't hear the conversation. All I see
like
is
one tier of balcony away.
Like just a couple of heads bouncing, like they're obviously talking, and then both of them just sort of like their heads sort of like counter tilt from each other and then go back and start laughing. And I'm just like, someone said something about a beard. I just know it. And then try to take the photo. But that was
and I do have the photo, but it's extremely blurry. Let me grab it anyway.
Because again,
it's funny.
Star Wars Explained. He tried. That was best.
There was a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on.
It was fantastic.
Hold on.
Yes.
StreamYard has this really fun feature where it can only share videos. So I have to take images and convert them to video, and then I can upload them. So don't ask me why.
Yeah, it was really cool and amazing seeing.
But here's me and Ezra, the blurriest goddamn photo you have ever seen in your life.
It's so real though. That's so real and so candid because of that.
The camera's like all right, I think I got it.
That's so real. Yeah.
Oh man.
It was legendary. It was absolutely fucking legendary.
But yeah, I met pretty much the entire cast of Ahsoka, minus Rey. May he rest in peace. His absence was definitely felt.
Well, minus the big ones. Like I think the only people who are hanging out because of the writer's strike, Ahsoka didn't have their own premiere.
Exactly. This was kind of their vicarious red carpet.
But yeah, Natasha Liu was there, Ivana was there, Deanna Lee and Santo was there.
Yep, and I mean, they all looked amazing, honestly.
So it's just like the four of them, just like the big four, but not like Hayden or Ewan or fucking Harris actress who I can't think of right now. But yeah, but there was still enough people there that was like fucking incredible.
Yeah, Commander Brom Titus himself, exactly. There was an after party back at the hotel.
There was two after parties.
And then there was an after party for us lowly people who aren't
good old
actually in the show over at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. And you know what? We had a lot of fun.
Coincidentally, it was also karaoke night.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. I was quite happily pleased that there wasn't some sort of like entry fee or like cover charge, because that would have been a little bit rough. But
honestly, I was floating on such a cloud that I would have paid like whatever to get in. Like I didn't even care anymore. I was like, tonight's not real. $500. Sure, let's go. Like, oh man, I would have been hurting in the morning. But like honestly, nothing mattered anymore after that. After that, walking out of that theater, like I was invincible for like the rest of that night. Thank you so much for being an inspiration for the community. Your positivity and light makes the fandom a better place. Thank you so much. Like seriously, like I really appreciate comments like that. It means a lot to me because there is kind of a positivity shortage in the fandom community. And while you know what, That's not even true. There's
It's
so much
not
positivity in
even-
the fandom community. The problem is that negativity is louder.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You hear negative voices a lot louder, and so it's important to, like, put your voice against that chorus and try and drown it out a little bit. So I don't know. I'm not some yes man. I'm not free
Wikipedia,
of
hello.
criticism. I just don't dwell on the negative aspects of my experience when it comes to Star Wars, because that's not where my energy is. My energy goes into the things I enjoy and the things I'm excited about, and that's all there
That
is
is
to
the
it,
art.
really.
That is the art of it.
Wikipedia.
If we were to wish to
Welcome
say
to the
what was
stream.
derivative
Thank you.
and what is bullshit, like we can happily say what is derivative and what is bullshit.
Like we are the Ongo Gablogians of
Yeah.
Star Wars. Exactly.
But even the things that are derivative and bullshit, Caravan of Courage, there are still things that are good about it. And
Caravan of Courage has its redeeming qualities. I was about to say, like
one of my
I will
favorite
leap to the
fucking
defense of
blaster
that movie.
pistols is from that movie. And I still, to this day, vanilla wafers have never looked, or like vanilla wafer biscuits have never looked so fucking delicious, except for that weird like
stayed with you.
Alf, that weird half Alf like Ewok looking alien that's like
I know
hanging
exactly
out
what
with
you're
the
talking
girl.
about. Yes.
Bro, they eat the biscuits. I'm like, bro, I really want a fucking vanilla wafer right now.
Taste
like,
the
what
goodness
fuck
of the
fuck?
biscuit
Yeah,
with the honey sauce.
be wild.
Yeah, don't knock Caravan of Courage. We're gonna have words. It's not the greatest film. It's not a masterpiece, but you know what? Could be so much worse.
But then you
and as a
also
kid,
kind
I
of
liked it a lot. Is my jam.
you kind of met Kathleen Kennedy a little bit there.
Yeah. Positivity is a learning process for me, but being part of your community has been a great help in that. Well, thank you. Like, honestly, this is and maybe I'm biased, but it's my favorite community on Discord. I will say that. Yes. So I do have my story. I do have my story from the red carpet. So yeah, I promised this on Twitter. My story about me and Kathleen Kennedy. So we're there. We're on the red carpet. Like, people are taking photos. The humdrum is running around. And I see Kathleen Kennedy just like standing by herself. Like there's no one around her, which already is kind of like, okay. This is my moment. So I go over to her and I introduce myself and I say, hi, Kathy. It's an honor to meet you. I'm a big fan. You've produced so many of my childhood hits, like Indiana Jones, E.T., like everything pretty much. And I asked her if I could take a picture with her. Right. So she smiles real big and she's like, yeah, of course. Absolutely. Like, come in. And so we take a photo and I'm going to show you the photo. Here we are right here. All right. Right.
Oh, I didn't know you actually fucking took it.
So right after this exact moment,
you actually
she
did
turns her head and she whispers to me, "You know I'm not Kathy, right? I'm her twin sister."
Oh shit! I didn't know you actually. Oh shit! You never showed me the photo. Oh my god! Oh man!
She's like,
oh man!
I'm Connie.
This makes
you
it
want
so
my
much
sister
better. This
Kathy.
makes it so much better. I had no fucking. Wow.
Oh man! And so I was like, oh no! Like I'm so like, she's like, "Duh, like it's fine. It's what it is what her words were. It is what it is, which is so not reassuring. And so I walk away. It is my great shame. And I see her go over to her husband, and she's like telling her husband what just happened, and they both turn and look at me, and I'm just
like, it's fucking. Yeah.
Oh,
dude!
Look at her smile. She's so like she gave me the best photo, and she's thinking so like this fucker's gonna say that I'm my sister when he shows people this photo.
This is such a good picture too. Oh my god! Wow, you didn't. Okay, that's.
So that's. Yeah, 100%. She committed to the bit.
Damn! Wow.
Oh, and it's very on brand for me. Yes, she has an identical twin. She does have an identical twin, Connie, who also works at Lucasfilm.
No fucking idea. No fucking idea.
So there you go. There's my mortifyingly embarrassing story. But, because I live my life in the public I, as a YouTuber, I figured this story must be public as well. So
This is my
great
is
shame.
everyone in the future. This is the warning. This is the preemptive warning for everyone in the future of like, if you try to see Kathleen Kennedy, just make sure, ask yourself.
I told this story to my friends at Lucasfilm, and they were like, "That's so funny." And by the way, that happens at least 10 times every time Connie comes to the office. People think she's Kathy, like that work with her. So it's not just me. Like this could have and would have happened to anybody. And by the way, I later saw Kathleen Kennedy at the premiere in a very similar outfit, and that's deliberate. I'm telling you. No, there's no way this was the first time it had happened to her. But like, yeah, it was the full 9 yards.
That's
like
brilliant.
We took the photo, she leaned in, she said it to me all low key, and then like went and told her husband, and
That's
they both
fucking
just like
brilliant.
turned and looked at me, and oh my god, my face was redder than the carpet. Like
It's when you have to shake your head and you're like, thank you for your time. Thank you.
yeah, that's pretty much.
Thank you
I
for
made
your
a graceful retreat. I was like, time to abandon ship. Like,
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Okay, so there was one point. There was one point on the red carpet where Patrick and I did separate because he was talking to a couple of the other influencers that were there that I think that you saw previously in the week. So you were just like touching bases with I think like Nikki and Amanda, and then I was just like randomly walking across different parts of the red carpet and sort of got to the area past where they have. I'm not a sports ball person, so I don't know basketball, but they had whatever
the trophy was there.
They had
Yeah.
big gold ball basketball trophy. Anyway, so I walked past that shit and sort of just like meandered on further down like the media. What I future learned was the actual like media line where like fucking the celebrities were actually like talking to people. So I see like Lee Jung-jae like talking to some of the reporters and the cameras, and I'm like, mindlessly meandering behind like the wall, just sort of like trying to see where Katarn is.
Have you looked up on Getty Images to see if you're like halfway through one of their photos?
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden I see this really tall, like gorgeous Asian man talking to the cameras. I was like, oh god, I've wandered too far. I've swam upstream too far.
The people are getting more and more beautiful the further down this carpet I go. I think I'm going the wrong direction.
More famous. I went the wrong way, and then I just had to go back.
If you're looking for Kyle Katarn and people are getting hotter, go the other way.
I was like, oh god. And at this point, I think you had gone inside because they were starting to ring the bell of like the show's gonna start soon.
Everyone. They did. They rang on the old triangle, and then we all went in there.
And I think that's actually the same time because you met influencers. You talked to the twin. I was gonna say,
careful. I talked to Connie Kennedy. Thank you very much.
You saw the Mountain of Churros.
And she's delightful, by the way. Real sense of humor.
Whether or not you wanted something from the Mountain of Churros. And you're like, no, because then I'll have to poop. But you're like, no, I just want to be able to watch the movie.
You guys are getting the thorough breakdown here.
Yeah, and then so I'm like texting him, like, where'd you go? I don't know what's happening. And he's like, just come inside. I'm like, okay. And then
I was like, your seat number is on your fucking lanyard. Just look at your chest and you know where to go.
But it was cool though, because it said balcony, and it was like, oh sweet, we're gonna have like the best fucking time. And then we go inside, and then like old timey dude on like fucking Elton John sparkly silver
playing the organ,
blaring.
So apparently that's an El Capitan thing. That wasn't even like our premiere thing. Like every single show, that dude's playing the organ. And when the show's gonna start, he like descends into the floor. Like he's going into the fucking carbon freeze. He just
it's so fucking funny.
It was pretty great. Yeah, it was so over the top. It was extremely Hollywood. And when the curtain lifted, it was like one curtain,
like four different curtains.
Then another one. Then one of these, then another one of these, then another one of these,
glittery silver, and then
screen. It was amazing. The pageantry. It was the most Hollywood thing I've ever seen. I loved it. Yeah. Hey guys, can't wait to see you both at Star Wars Celebration next year. See you in Japan, man. It's gonna be awesome. Also, it'll be good to be a guest on the podcast. Yes, we're gonna be bringing New Age FM over on here in the coming weeks here as soon as we got our guest schedule set up. So look forward to that interview. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Just getting into that.
But yeah, I not only did we go to the premiere and have this wonderful experience, but I also ended up with a funny story about Kathleen Kennedy's twin sisters. So yeah, you guys can take that story and enjoy it. It is my great shame, and I'm
great. John Pedro, are you fucking serious?
Entertainment instead.
Wait, you saw like, wait. So I was gonna say on some random. I have to see a clip of that now. I feel like if there's some random interview clip of
1000%.
me
Yes.
of the Bendu just randomly, aimlessly walking around behind the red wall, that would be fucking hilarious, and that would be the same equivalency as that random like interview like thing clip that we have of the one dude talking to the camera and George Lucas just walks past as a cryptid. It's just Soul's talking to the fucking cameras, talking about Acolyte, and there's just a Bendu, which is fucking.
I wonder if you are. You really need to search the stock photos now.
Yeah, John Pedro. I need someone on that. Yeah, I saw.
Did someone in here say that they found one?
Yeah, John Pedro 77. I saw Bendu behind that interview, smiley face. I was like, bro, I need a fucking screenshot.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we got to track down that interview so we can get you.
That's
if anyone has it, post it on the Discord so we can grab it. Post it on the Dork Forces channel.
Oh my god,
because that's hilarious. I want to see that too.
I want to see that so bad. just the panic face. It's like, where's my best friend?
Like a lost dog. He didn't know where to go. Oh, but yeah, we're gonna jump into our non-spoiler review of episodes 1 and 2 of The Acolyte in a few moments here. Before we switch gears, does anyone else have any questions, any specific questions they want to ask about the red carpet or about my day at Lucasfilm? Like, now's the time. Throw them at us here. Yeah, it was a crazy experience, man. I don't even know how
beautiful. It was so much fun. So something
I will say they gave me a cool hat. So what more do you need?
Yeah, so kind of the closing thought again on like seeing the families of the actors get to react to the production. Again, it really was a different experience seeing a TV show in a limited space that really felt like a stage performance. Like getting to see all the actors families there. It was so much of just like, again, a beautiful Lucasfilm family production that it felt like we just so happened to have the blessed ability to just like to witness it and like be there to like see the family and like see everyone and be like, this is a really, really beautiful, really cool group of people that like do this. It's not just a bunch of TV execs just circle jerking like, oh, another successful show that we just.
It's not like the way they show TV execs in movies. Like,
yeah,
that's always what they show in the movie scene, just like a big boardroom of people like that. But that's not at all what the vibe was.
Yeah, it was people who were really proud of what they were able to put together and what they collectively created.
Did I meet Matt Woods or the Separatist Droid Army? I did not meet Matt Wood. I would love to meet him, but no, he was not around.
You did get to meet the legendary Star Wars lore keeper, of whom
I
also
did. I met Pablo. Pablo's very cool. He's got a killer beard these days.
Jesus, he had like the level of beard that you would expect someone of. God, what were the lore cast keepers?
Well, he keeps the lore in his beard. Clearly,
I know, right? The Maesters. He totally he's like the Maester of Star Wars.
He's totally the Maester. You could get him a little chain with like lightsabers on it.
Yes,
He'd hate it. 2 questions. What's one of your biggest surprises from your visit to Lucasfilms, meeting the folks behind the scenes? And how did it feel to lose to me in Unmatched? Why you got to do me like that on live internet, Connie? She kicked my ass in this board game Unmatched. I was playing with her, Drew, and Nerd Chronic at a bar, and I almost won, but she was Bigfoot, and she hit me with a giant log. And
I think, okay, is Unmatched the game? It's kind of like a deck build, or it's like an inner.
Yeah, you play cards, but you have minis, and you can mix and match these different franchises and IPs and stuff.
And then you can just smash. Yeah.
Yeah, Nerd Chronic is way into it. And so we got to play a game, and it was super fun. It was super fun.
I saw one game that was like that was the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park, and like versus Cthulhu versus a mummy, and like versus like fucking Steve Jobs or something. Like it was the most random. There's so many different characters.
That sounds about right. That sounds about what it was.
Yeah. Sorry, give me one moment. Master here, dog.
Oh, what up, Nerd Chronic? Speaking of which, how you doing, man?
Okay, both of y'all, how many legends did y'all meet this weekend? I'm going to say collectively the beautiful,
Almost too
lucky-
many to count.
I'm going to say the lucky unlucky number of 13, just to be safe. I'm going to say we met 13 legends.
Well, dude, you've got to add 2 more on because after this last week, we have become legends too.
It's 15.
We're the fans that got to go to Lucasfilm
So
and go to the
wild.
world premiere.
That's so
And
fucking
like,
cool.
so we are legends among the fans.
Yeah.
we
So
got that now, too.
non-spoiler related. So again, kind of going into Katarn's breakdown video. I don't know shit about the High Republic in regards to a lot of the stuff that Marvel has preemptively written comic-wise, or a lot of the overlaying story. Like, I know enough about the Jedi, the Council.
You know the setting though, right?
Time period. I know the setting.
Yeah.
But in regards to like the specific characters of those time periods and everything, I don't know a whole lot. This show is so easy to follow. Oh my goodness. You don't have to know jack shit.
No, you don't. You really don't.
Like non-spoiler.
And that's very important because if you do it chronologically, this is the very first thing you watch in all of Star Wars.
So for my people in the chat, if I were to use a Marvel metaphor, this story is such a beautiful one-shot. Like, I can already tell you, I'm going to love the story of Star Wars Acolyte as much as I loved Moon Knight and Werewolf by Midnight, because both of them are so different.
But
such
very like stylistically dialed up in their own way.
They're so palpable.
Yeah.
And the Acolyte, oh my God, it's immediately everything from what you've seen from the teasers, from the martial arts. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. We really get to see a different period of the Jedi, because it feels different.
It feels different. It's not just like the story crawl tells you this is 250 years ago. It's like, oh look, Coruscant has a different skyline. It hasn't been built up the way that it is in the prequels. Like, the technology is pretty much the same, but it has a different flavor of retrofuturism to it. It's almost more 60s and 50s inspired instead of 70s. The garb is different, like the clothing, the ships and the vehicles, the technology itself really reflects the time period in a different way. And you don't really need to be told that this is before, because that was one of the questions that I had for Leslye, was like, how much care did you take to make sure that a casual viewer is going to know that this doesn't take place between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back? Like, how will they immediately know, oh, this is not that time period at all?
I mean,
it's reflected in all the visual designs. Like, everything looks and feels like it comes before.
And character mentalities too. Even in character mentalities. So like costuming wise, this is the first time that we get to see Jedi wearing gauntlets, like armored gloves. And this is also the first time that we really get to see Jedi not be as quick to draw with their lightsabers. Like,
it's a different philosophy, a different mentality.
Yeah. Completely different philosophy and mentality on
speaking of philosophies, I think that my standout character so far is Saul, Master Saul, played by Lee Jung Jae.
100%.
I tweeted about this earlier, and I'm not going to get into anything specific, obviously, but I will say that
next week
he is going to be held up as the epitome of Jedi ideals, much the same way people think of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes.
I think it's going to be Qui-Gon Jinn and Master Saul right here. That's my prediction. And I think that's really appropriate, too, because we know that Qui-Gon Jinn is kind of a holdout of the High Republic ideals that have kind of like died out, and he's keeping it going. Like, this kind of shows those ideals being fully realized, by a fully fledged Jedi Master in his prime. And I've so far 2 episodes in, I find him to be the most compelling character. I will also say that, like, one of the things that I love about Star Wars, and that whenever this sort of stuff happens, like, it tickles my particular like sensibility, is like very like 70s inspired, goofy rubber-headed aliens in cantinas and like marketplaces.
There's so many good aliens.
Whenever something happens, like whenever a character does a thing and it cuts to like a tight reaction shot of an alien being like, oh, fucking love that.
Yes.
Like, I live for that. And that happens so many times.
Yeah, it's like they took the best things of other shows and then like learned what was missing from other shows. Like Andor, fucking phenomenal. Andor is so strong and such a hearty meal, but there isn't a whole lot of aliens. We don't get to see a whole lot of like.
There's a ton of substance.
There's
I will say
But
there's just as much
oh,
substance here, but because the setting is different, it allows for more.
there's so much
It
diversity.
allows for more leeway in that way.
There's so much diversity in
After
the cast.
Saul, who is your favorite character? The Acolyte.
The Acolyte, yeah.
The Acolyte. Not saying another word about that, but that's my second favorite
Dude,
character.
okay, so so we'll go into this though. Amanda Sternberg. When I originally knew that Rue from the Hunger Games was gonna be in this movie, I didn't realize like that was still her, like as the main character. I was like, oh cool, she's just gonna be like, I don't know. I was expecting her to be younger, I guess. I don't know. But like,
well, because you hadn't seen her since she was like a kid in this other movie.
I think so. I think that was the biggest like, damn, look at like you're amazing. You're so fucking beautiful. Like you.
I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I can't rank Kalnaka because he does not appear in the first 2 episodes. So I haven't met him yet. Haven't met him. I'll meet him for the first time alongside the rest of you in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's hard for me to say. I'm like looking at the cast now currently online.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
that's Rue from Hunger Games is plays the lead.
She is so fucking amazing in this show. Oh my god, she's gonna blow everyone's minds. Who's my favorite character? The costumes, the costume designer, the visual designer.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and confirm it. Leslye told us that there will not be Yoda this season.
Everything looks so
no Yoda in season 1 of The Acolyte. Possibly season 2, but like she straight up told us because we asked her. She was like, "Yeah, no, there won't be any Yoda. Maybe we'll get like a transmission or a holo from him at some point, but like he's not in this season."
How much Force Fu is there? Oh, a lot. It's so good.
Multiple like
so
extended Force Fu fights. It's not just like one time they do it for like there's more than one fight where like there's no lightsaber until the very end of the fight, you know, because it's kind of drawing on that Kurosawa style where like instead of just kendo, it's also iedo, you know, where like you sheath it and you take one strike and put it back, and that's like that's what you do. So it's all hand to hand until it's time to end this fight. Single strike with the lightsaber and it's gone. Yeah, dude. Again, going back. So this answer is going to go into 2 questions. The one was how was Trinity, and then the second one going back to the Force Fu. Carrie-Anne Moss fucking knocked it out of the park. Again, but also, dude, she gave me chills actually during everything about it. Scene. All of it just again really emphasizes the difference of mentality towards using your lightsaber versus using unhanded combat in order to de-escalate a situation versus not like the Matrix, more like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yes. It was much more Crouching Tiger than like Matrixy. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying it was so good. But with Carrie-Anne Moss's performance, we only got to see her a little bit. I think we'll see her more. I think we're gonna see her more. We haven't seen the last Carrie-Anne Moss. She did so great. I will say, even though Saul is Katarn's favorite character, multiple times throughout the evening, he did say that Idara's tabard. She has the coolest Jedi robe in the show. Yeah, bar none. She has the coolest looking Jedi robe for sure, and she's the only one with it. It's like a unique design, and that's one of the cool things about the High Republic is that they have this like pre-industrial revolution almost kind of feel where everything is artisan and not mass produced, and so like everyone's robes are unique. Yeah, instead of being like churned out by some like robes making droid like they are in the prequels, I'm sure there's clearly like a team of seamstresses and tailors that like make these garments for the Jedi, and like it all feels much more handcrafted. And this takes place at the tail end of season 3 or phase 3 of the High Republic. So Starlight, for those of you who have read the books, Starlight Beacon has fallen. We've descended into more of a warlike state. The protocols have been released by the Chancellor, and so like lightsabers are now being like mass produced, and they're a bit more no frills, and like that. Yeah. That time of transition has pretty much completed at this point. That's where we start with this show. Streaming screens. How about Vern and the Whip? We have not seen Vern and the Whip. We have not seen Vern and the Whip yet.
I already have my own thoughts and opinions that I'm very
Bernie and
excited,
the whip.
that I'm very excited to get into if and when it does show up. I do have my own theories on the mechanics of how it could work or how it does work.
Leslye did tell me that she mistakenly had a Google alert for the term light whip and then quickly realized that was a mistake.
Nice. That's funny.
I was like, why did I do this to myself?
I immediately and initially, I will say the mechanics that I'm hoping / assuming the light whip works on would be the same way of, to anyone who has played Soul Calibur, the way that Ivy's sort of whip sword has the setting of going from
it can go
hard
static.
to whip. Yeah, I think the lightsaber is probably going to have a similar mechanism where she'll be able to turn it.
Oh, well, I mean, in that TV spot, we know that it does because she does a flourish and then sends it back as a whip. But when she flourishes it, it's a bar and then it goes back. So totally it does have that function. I'm sure
so
it does.
With any sort of whatever the reasons to use it as a whip, there is a lot of different martial arts that incorporate bull whips as a weapon and as a style. Would it be anything to where you grip the lightsaber whip into anything? No. If anything, I think you probably...
No, you can't wrap it around something. It's just going to cut.
It's just going to cut it in multiple pieces, which I think would purely be the point of that, or to try to block different...
If you wrap it around your arm, you don't have an arm anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I don't think it would be wise or something that you would use against a fellow Force user, because the moment that you were to turn your solid saber into a whip, it would be very easy to just force it away.
I will point out that this is a time of peace, and no Force users haven't had to fight each other in a very long time.
Exactly. So I think
no one is training with a lightsaber to fight against a lightsaber in this time, and I think that's going to become very relevant to the plot very soon.
Yeah,
is the fact that they've been training to defend against blasters and the Nile, and the Nameless, these monsters, not other blades, and they're going to find themselves lacking because the Acolytes are in secret, just training against they've been waiting for this. That's always the Sith's thing, man. They're always in the shadows, just waiting for the moment to strike, and they're practicing that entire time. They're training. They're getting better. Yeah, no, I can't wait. I saw a comment in here I wanted to respond to. Is the Acolyte kid-friendly or more adult like Andor? I have a 9-year-old daughter who's watched most of the live-action shows. Honestly, I would say it's below Andor, but not by much. The dark stuff is pretty dark.
Yeah,
evil scenes are pretty scary.
They use the K word.
Yes,
they don't say unalive. They straight up use the kill word.
Yeah, there's also very murderous murder. It's not just oh no, Disney murder. It's oh, she murdered the fuck out of that guy. So it does get intense in that way, and the scenes where evil things are happening, I guess not to spell it out, are pretty scary. And I will say that we watched it in a theater with Dolby ass sound, so it was way intense because it was really loud and big. But even on a screen at home, I think it would be pretty scary. I don't know. Yeah. I can handle it at 9 years old, but I'd probably think about it when I went to bed that night.
So in regards to seriousness, it's easier to follow than Andor, but in regards to violence level, I think it's probably going to be more on par with Kenobi. Because with Kenobi, there was a lot of violence.
Yeah. Kenobi, there was no he was slicing stormtroopers and they were just falling down, and it was all quite clean. There's some.
I meant Vader killing children.
Blood.
I meant
knives going
I meant the idea of Vader straight up force choking kids.
Okay, yes, that part was very dark. That part was
that's what I mean.
Yes, okay, but that you can refer to that as the dark part of Kenobi. I don't think you'll be able to pick out a single part of this that's the dark part, because it's kind of permeates throughout. There's I mean, it's about murder.
It is about murder.
About murder. There's a lot of murder talk and murdering going on.
Okay, so without spoilers, right? I'm trying to do this so hard without spoilers.
Yeah, right. Careful. You're in a minefield right now.
With metaphors. So Paranormal Activity, the movie, the first movie, right?
Sure.
Or I guess any scary movie in general. They do a really good job of, again, sectioning and flow. They do a really good job of okay, this is going to be this portion. It's going to be kind of not lighthearted, but it's going to be this is going to be Jedi centered. It's nighttime. We're going to do this really dark shit. okay, we're gonna focus on main characters right now. Oh shit, it's gonna be dark shit again. And then boom, we're gonna check in with the Jedi now. Like it's so
Color
very
palette kind of
section.
follows the action in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Does it contradict the Phantom Menace stating that Sith haven't been seen in thousands of years? I will say two things. I will say I have not heard anyone say the word Sith at any point on
Nope.
either side of this, thing that's going on in the show. And secondly, I'll say the Phantom Menace does not state that the Sith haven't been seen in thousands of years. Ki-Adi-Mundi says that the Sith haven't been. So it's not really like, and yes, he's being the spokesperson for the Jedi in this moment, but this is just like, it's the caveat of, to the best of our knowledge, the Sith have been extinct. And they're being certain about it because they have arrogance and they have that level of like self-assuredness. And we're supposed to already know, like at the time that he's making that statement, we're supposed to be like, because like the Sith aren't even extinct while he's saying that. So like, why are we supposed to believe that the Sith were ever extinct?
Also,
So,
not to mention,
I don't think it contradicts it because I think that was supposed to be taken as a false statement at the time of the Phantom Menace. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and on second with that, with
Exactly.
both
He believes it.
right, with both Dark Horse Comics and Marvel Comics, and KOTOR, well, Visions more so, the differential between Sith and dark side cultists or just dark side users is still very like not interchangeable because one is clearly very much a philosophical difference, but like it's definitely plausible to have people who just worship the dark side, or just anti-Jedaists in general, who are just like these people, they think they're so powerful and so cool, but like we could easily just learn the same secrets. And
whether you like it or not, the Jedi are running the galaxy.
Yeah.
They are the peacekeepers. They're the ones maintaining order. No matter who you are, no matter how good your intentions may be, if you're the one holding the stick, other people are going to resent you for it. And you're going to have enemies because of your role in society. So there's plenty of people that might be gunning for the Jedi. They pretty much make reference to their political enemies, like in the episodes. And so it wouldn't be surprising to me if, like, at the end of this story, the surviving Jedi are like, that was the work of one of our enemies, some dark side, blah, blah, blah. There's no way it was a Sith. The Sith are still extinct. And they may continue to have that misconception and just carry it with them for the next 250 years. And that's why Ki-Adi-Mundi believes what he does. It's also possible, although not incredibly likely, that every Jedi who encounters a Sith dies and does not live to report that information.
Homosolarity, exactly. Not all exactly that. Not all Darksiders are Sith. But most Sith, if not all Sith, are Darksiders.
Unless we're talking about Lana Beniko. No one knows what the hell she is. She doesn't know what the hell she is.
Freezy 2324 are the acolytes related to the Sith? We do not know. We do not know.
We don't know that they're not, but like I said, they have been very deliberate and very cautious not to use the S word at any point. In fact, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they haven't defined them at all.
No.
Like this is very much a show don't tell kind of story, especially with the Darksiders, and they really haven't given us a lot of information beyond there's no exposition for these guys so far. It's just what we've seen. And there's context clues to help you piece it together, but like they're really not going to be like, so this is this guy, son of this guy, and this was his master, and they're from this planet. Like that's not how this is going to work. The Sith, the mystery is their power, Lana is not your romance option. Well, I mean, I don't know. Janata Teros is pretty much a nun, but if she had a romance option, it would probably be Lana. If we're being real. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I think it works really well, especially in a medium that's so visual as Star Wars. Exposition is great, but like when we're in such a rich and colorful world, we want to be seeing it. And we want to be shown these things rather than listen to them necessarily. It's always about a nice blend of both, but always err on the side of visual storytelling. Yes, this is the way.
Brent, Age of Grogu, how much of the trailers do you think appeared in the first two episodes? Quite a bit.
85%.
Quite a bit.
85%.
They did a really good job.
I can think of like 2 shots that I haven't accounted for because I actually sat down and thought
Yeah.
about this earlier today. There's only like 2 trailer shots that I haven't seen yet. Everything.
Whoever is on top of their editing or their advertising, I guess, whoever their advertising team lead is for this particular show has just been like knocking it out of the water because like not even the secrecy, but like just the not really telling us anything until the very last minute and being really skimpy.
I mean, like more so than the other stories that came before it. This is more like a mystery.
They gave us so many trailers. They gave us so many teases. They gave us so much like preemptive intro, which I guess is also more difficult when you have like a movie per se versus a TV show.
But they have to control that information because it's a mystery.
Yeah.
So they can't give you too much to speculate on initially, you know? I can't wait to see what the discourse is like, honestly, after this double episode premiere on the 4th. Like, everyone's going to have a theory. Everyone's going to be like arguing about like, no, I think this is what's happening. No, this is the Acolyte.
But what's also cool,
and that's going to be really exciting because it's been too long since we've had like a good Star Wars caper to like try and figure out ahead of the finale.
Yeah.
And we're all along for the ride. And this is,
and what's also really cool to mention is that even though we were able to only see the first 2 episodes, there are a bunch of screeners or a few screeners out there who have seen the first 4 episodes. And
which is half the season. There's 8 episodes total.
Yeah, and they have only had good things to say from the half that they've seen. I have yet to really hear one bad thing about this show. It's so fucking good.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the rest of it. And a lot of people have been asking me, specifically on Twitter, about the episode lengths and how long. And I have no idea because it felt like 5 minutes because I was so absorbed in the episode that I really was not like looking at the time at any point. But if I had to guess, I would say it was maybe 45 minutes for the first episode. And the second one was maybe like 40 minutes.
What'd you say? The first one was shorter?
The first one was like 45, and the second one was like 40.
I see. I thought the opposites.
You thought the second one was longer?
Yeah.
I thought the second one was way shorter.
Oh, weird. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to tiptoe around this, but I think it's safe to say that Bendu and me, both our favorite scene was in the second episode pretty early on.
Oh, dude. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, dude.
I'm not going to say anything, but you know what I'm talking about.
If I had that, I would do it all the fucking time. I would do it.
Yeah, dude, I would never even leave the house if I could do that shit. Are you kidding me?
God. Oh my god, it's so.
Oh god.
So,
okay, so this moment, and then try and figure out what we're talking about when that episode comes out. Because
before we leave,
so good.
So this show, episode 1 compared to episode 2, have completely different feels. So you're good, which seems obvious, right? But what I mean
Leslye
by
said
that,
stylistically,
what I mean by that
in that way
is after you watch the first episode, you go into it of like, oh, this story, it's going to be like that kind of story. It's going to be very Shakespearean. I understand.
Nope.
But then as soon as the second episode happens, you're like, oh, this isn't like this story. This is like this story. And someone's going to be.
And that's going to happen every single
episode. What's in the box?
We're going to take like little left turns.
Yeah.
Like she said, we're getting an alien episode, a predator episode. Like what could that even mean?
In terms of like cinematography style, yeah.
Well, exactly, yeah. The inspiration is unique for each one, and so like I'm hoping just because like putting the pieces together, it's the High Republic. We have this awful cool ass creature called the Nameless. Yeah. We could have an alien episode where someone's trapped on like a derelict freighter with a nameless like. I don't want to make myself too excited because that's how you fall victim to your expectations. But like just knowing that we're going to get an alien inspired and a predator inspired episode in Star Wars, really like give it to me now. Give it to me now. She also talked about being inspired by Mike Flanagan in a lot of ways for this show. She said she took direct inspiration from Midnight Mass and from Hill House. She didn't really elaborate on what she meant by that, but like Star Wars and Mike Flanagan influences coming together is potentially horrifying. Like that could like that makes me very excited. That makes me very excited. And one thing that she did emphasize that Mike Flanagan kind of set in motion is having a really like a major event on episode 5. Like episode 5 was kind of like always the reveal episode in his arc. And she kind of hinted that she also was taking a note from that. So that makes me think that maybe episode 5 of this show is going to reveal, going to have a big revelation of some kind.
Because then we'll have 6, 7, and 8 to really like work out the ramifications.
So good, dude. It's such a good show. Damon Linklater, I think, is the name of the actor who plays the priest. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Some of the best monologuing I've ever seen, like on TV. Like,
or Sharif.
Episode 5 is gonna hurt us. If the first 2 episodes are any like indication to me, like people are not gonna be okay after episode 5. That's what I'm saying, man. Live action Nameless, give it to me. It would also work for the Predator episode, honestly. Like quite honestly. No, she did not direct every episode. I think there are like 3 or 4 directors altogether. I know that she directed the first 2 and presumably the finale and a couple other ones as well, but not every single one, no.
But I think she still had a hand in writing a majority.
She's the showrunner. She wrote the treatment for the whole thing. Oh yeah, and speaking of writing, this show has a writer's room. Andor also had a writer's room, and I think it really elevated the material. The writer's room for this show is made up of a original trilogy diehard, a prequels fan, and a sequels fan, and someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars. So the 4 of them combined are crafting this narrative, and I think that's the best way to do it, honestly. Like, she said that the person who doesn't know anything about Star Wars was like, I know there's a dog in it somewhere, like like she was like literally knows nothing, but she knows good writing. She's there just for writer's sake. And then and like I think you'll agree with me because you've seen the first one too. I think it's immediately apparent that there's like a prequels kid in that writing room and an OT kid, and that there's like a sequels fan in there too. Like the aliens they chose, the ship styles they chose, the places where they drew from. You can even check it out. You're like, oh, that's from the prequels, that's from the sequels, that's from the originals, that's something new. But they're all on screen together, and it's this like fucking. It's just like a Star Wars salad bowl of like a little bit of everything, and that's the way to go. That's the way to do it, because you shouldn't just surround yourself with people that echo your flavor of Star Wars. You want the show to be accessible to as many people as possible. So you bring in elements of all of that in your writer's room, and I think it really reflected in the script, and it made it a lot better than if it was just like a single person writing the thing. And honestly, I think writer's room should be the way forward for all Star Wars shows. Mandalorian season 3, I think, could have really benefited from a writer's room. I think it would have been a lot more like cohesive. I just that's like, you know, after Andor and now after Acolyte, like I'm not going back. I'm pro writer's room for all Star Wars shows.
So good, yeah. But before we go, though, what is also beautiful and brilliant about the Acolyte is it is going to be a Tuesday show.
That's true. 6 p.m. baby.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're
still all you guys in the UK.
So I don't know if they're still going to premiere it at midnight,
6 p.m.
on Mondays. So if we're going to be like watching it Monday night, or
it's going to be 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
Okay, so will the podcast time be changing?
Yes. Yeah. As Bendu just pointed out, the Acolyte episodes are going to be dropping pretty much in our time slot. We go live on Tuesdays at 7 PST. The Acolyte comes out on Tuesdays at 6 PST. So more than likely, we're going to be spending this time reacting to the episodes and getting those reactions out to you guys, which means stay tuned for an announcement about our new time slot for the podcast. We're going to be shifting it most likely to Monday, maybe to Wednesday. We'll see what happens. But we will be doing reactions on Tuesdays and getting those out to you as soon as possible. The full-length reactions will be up on Patreon pretty much immediately. And then, the highlight YouTube versions will be hitting the channel as soon as possible. We've already seen the first 2 episodes. We're going to react to them anyway. We'll have a disclosure up front talking about the fact that we've already seen these. There's still plenty of observations to make and things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Questions to be had. So those videos are coming.
Bro,
that we've seen
I bought a little notepad. Dude, I'm gonna treat this whole show and series totally differently. Like last time I was at Safeway, I bought a little notepad.
Fuck yes.
That way I'm gonna take notes on each episode. That way at the end
Bendu's taking notes. We're about to have like a fucking detail-oriented discussion. Let's fucking go.
And then at the end we'll be like, what are your final thoughts? And I'll be like,
and you'll be like, actually,
The lighting on scene 3, phenomenal. The fight choreography, fucking flawless.
There it
Carrie-Anne
is.
Moss,
That's what I've been waiting for, man.
gorgeous.
That's what I've been waiting. We are leveling up our reactions. Our discussions are going to be even better.
Yeah,
I have so much energy going into this premiere and
the
these
show
first
is
2
so
episodes
neat.
that I can't fucking wait. Like this is
Show, yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
so philosophy. It's gonna be so martial arts. It's like Ahsoka gave
he
us
will.
a
He's going to have a
lot-
wizard scroll by the end of this.
Yeah, dude. Like, so Ahsoka gave us a lot of, and Mando and the Mandalorian. It gave us a lot of, traditional Jedi lightsaber, vroom vroom, pew pew, like just
Yeah,
traditional.
shout out to Nerd Chronic for
Star
helping
Wars.
us make this happen, by the way.
But the Acolyte is gonna give us like like this is space wizards. Like this show is literally going to be space wizards.
I heard one guy on the red
mean-
carpet calling it Acolyte, calling it Andor with lightsabers, and I don't disagree.
No.
That's not how I would have phrased it, but like, yeah, I see what he's saying, and like it's there. The
It's gonna
level
be
of
espionage.
content in the writing is
Well,
there.
it's gonna be more like Law and Order, if anything.
But it's-
So just
but it's more force focused than
Yeah.
Andor was, but it has the same level of like dramatic content that Andor had. I think is kind of what he was trying to say.
there's going to be pressure. There's going to be a countdown. There really is going to be like an end goal that really needs to be worked towards. Like this is going to be a really fast paced story, and we only have 8 episodes to do it. So
Yeah, no, it's gonna be gone in a flash. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dork Forces, where we kind of talked about the crazy week that we've had. Easily an all-time week as Star Wars fans. Like,
thank you again to Lucasfilm. Thank you again to Dave Filoni. Thank you again to Star Wars. Thank you again to Disney Plus. Everyone who allowed us to fucking be there in the first place. Thank you to you, best friend.
And most importantly, thank you to everybody watching right now, because if it wasn't for the audience, Lucasfilm would have never known who I was, and I never would have had this opportunity. So like I very much mean it when I say that I owe this to all of you, and I will forever be grateful for this. Like, I can't even talk about it right now. Like this has been a life-changing event, and it wouldn't have happened if people didn't decide they wanted to watch me on YouTube. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. The force is very strong with all of you guys. I know a lot of people have probably tuned into this podcast towards the end here, and therefore didn't get to see my video breakdown about my roundtable event with Leslye Headland at Lucasfilm. So I'm going to play that clip to play us out. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, may the force be with you. I was given the incredible opportunity of visiting Lucasfilm and sitting down for a chat with Leslye Headland about The Acolyte, which is about to come out on Disney+. First, we arrived at the Disney Studio lot in Burbank. I was already freaking out about meeting Leslye Headland, but I had no idea what I was actually in for. They led us into the Frank G. Wells Theater for a private screening of the first episode of The Acolyte. I couldn't believe it. We were among the first people in the world to get to see it. After a quick introduction from Leslye herself, it was on. While I was watching The Acolyte, I forgot I was at a private screening. I was so hooked by the episode, for a moment I thought I was back on my own couch in my living room. After a single episode, I was hooked. I can't wait to watch it again. Once the episode was over, we arrived at the Lucasfilm offices. Next, we sat down for an exclusive roundtable type discussion with showrunner Leslye Headland, who was very excited to talk to us and probably pretty nervous to hear our impressions of the episode. Needless to say, we were all pretty impressed with what we had just seen, and we had a really solid, informative discussion about Leslie's influences and how this show came to be. We also had opportunities to share our feedback and concerns as members of the fan community and spoke about the direction of the franchise. Here are a couple interesting things I learned from Leslye about The Acolyte during this conversation. Nobody auditioned for this show. Leslye told us that every cast member was hand-picked, and she got all of her first choices. Which is lucky, she added, because she really didn't have a plan B for any of the characters. Lee Jung-jae was the biggest holdout, primarily due to his concerns about performing in English. Leslye told us that after breaking Lucasfilm protocol and sending him a copy of the script, he signed on very quickly. Daphne Keane was cast in The Acolyte because, and I quote, "I just wanted X-23 with a lightsaber. That was pretty much it." When asked about her influences, Leslye told us that each episode will have a unique stylistic inspiration. She told us that this season will include, quote, an Alien episode and a Predator episode. We were paid an unexpected visit from Dave Filoni, and you can see from the look on my face that I handled it extremely well, like a normal person with social skills. Nope, no freakouts here. After our roundtable discussion, we took a tour of the Lucasfilm offices within the Disney Studio lot, a location never before seen by outsiders, unlike the Presidio offices in San Francisco. We were given some really cool Acolyte swag like Soul's lightsaber, a little Pip battery charger, some cup of noodles for some reason, and other cool stuff too. Everyone was excitedly digging in their bags and pulling things out. Meanwhile, I was just drinking it in, scanning the whole room with my eyes and trying to burn every single memory into my brain forever. This was a fantastic experience. I'm so grateful to Lucasfilm and to Star Wars for giving me the opportunity to come